It is true that The Conjuring is based on our experience. The movie is not, however, based on my trilogy, House of Darkness, House of Light. Instead, it is based on the case records kept by Ed and Lorraine Warren. Although certain liberties have been taken and there are some inconsistencies, ultimately, it is what it says it is. Based on a true story, believe it or not. Andrea Perron. Based upon my previous videos, people had so many questions revolving around the mystery behind real Conjuring. I have picked some of those questions and try to answer it. While doing some research, came across some fascinating things which will conclude the real story. So that being said, as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Number 1. Who was the real Bathsheba Sherman? The ghost of alleged witch Bathsheba Sherman is the most eerie one in the film. Bathsheba Thayer, who was born in Rhode Island in 1812, wed fellow Rhode Islander Judson Sherman, who was 1 year older, on March 10, 1844, in Thompson, Connecticut. Local justice of the peace Vernon Stiles officiated at the couple's marriage. While Judson worked as a farmer on their property, Bathsheba took care of the home. Bathsheba and Judson were reasonably well off. Their son Herbert L. Sherman was born in March 1849, when Bathsheba was about 37 years old. Although no census records could be located to support these rumors, it is conceivable that they also had 3 further children, all of whom died before turning 7. Additionally, the family frequently had a boarder, most likely to assist them on the farm. Number 2. Are there any photographs of Bathsheba Sherman? Only one that has come to light that might show alleged witch Bathsheba Sherman. It is an image of the Perron family homestead at the Arnold estate around the year 1885. Since she passed away in the spring of 1885, the real Bathsheba, who lived next door on Sherman Farm, would have been in her early 70s at the time, if not already deceased. The old farmhouse picture shown above has been used in several films advertising Andrea Perron's book House of Darkness, House of Light, zooming in on the woman in the center to allude to Bathsheba Sherman. We've uncovered no proof that the woman towards the center of the picture is Bathsheba, so this was probably just a suggestive ploy to promote the book. The woman also appears to be wearing a surgical mask, which obviously heightens the creepiness of the footage, but also makes it practically impossible for anyone to determine who she really is. If you're curious as to why the woman could be using a surgical mask, it is most likely to guard against bacteria coming from the influenza virus or one of the other widespread diseases of the time, such as diphtheria or tuberculosis. Number 3. Was Bathsheba Sherman really a witch? There is just local lore and legend to suggest that Bathsheba Sherman was indeed a witch. Suspicion increased when a newborn inexplicably died in her care. She had previously resided on a nearby farm in the 1800s. When the infant was checked, it was discovered that a big sewing needle had impaled the child's skull at the base, resulting in a fatal wound. Despite the fact that the town's residents thought Bathsheba had offered the child as a sacrifice to the devil, a court determined that there was insufficient proof to convict her. Even though her name had been officially cleared, the public was unconvinced. Andrea Perron writes in her book House of Darkness, House of Light about her mother Carolyn, speaking to a man she refers to as Mr. McEachern. Mr. McEachern, who claimed to be a bit of a local historian, informed Carolyn that Bathsheba mistreated the servants, starved them, and beat the workers at Sherman Farm. Number 4. How did the Perron family figure out that the spirit haunting them was that of Bathsheba Sherman? Ed and Lorraine Warren, who specialize in investigating the paranormal, said that the family might have a connection to Bathsheba Sherman's ghost. Carolyn Perron, the mother, informed Ed and Lorraine of an incident that had occurred a few years before. She claimed that as she was lying on the sofa, she suddenly experienced a sharp ache in her calf, which was followed by a spasm of the muscle. She examined it and saw a pool of blood where it had hit. Her leg had been punctured, but she looked for bees or anything else that might have caused it, but couldn't find anything. Andrea Perron writes that the wound was a perfectly concentric circle in her daughter's book, as if a giant sewing needle had penetrated her skin. Lorraine Warren speculated that Bathsheba Sherman may have used the knitting needle to stab Carolyn in the calf in the afterlife. When Carolyn recounted Ed and Lorraine Warren this story alongside the one about Bathsheba Sherman, who was thought to have killed a child with a knitting needle. After then, Lorraine Warren began to refer to the demonic force in the Perron home as Bathsheba. House of Light, House of Darkness. Number 5. How did Bathsheba die? The suspected witch Bathsheba Sherman passed away as an old woman on May 25, 1885, around 4 years after the passing of her husband Judson Sherman in 1881. According to research, Bathsheba lived to witness the 1881 wedding of her son Herbert and his fiancée Anna, who was a farmer like his father. Online publications would lead you to believe that Bathsheba died from a weird sort of paralysis that perplexed and alarmed doctors, or that her body actually turned to stone as she passed away. These same publications frequently claim that Bathsheba had 4 children, all of whom passed away before they became 4 years old. Their foundations are never anything more than tradition and local folklore or internet rumors. Number 6. Where is Bathsheba Sherman's gravestone located? In the historic cemetery across the street from the fire station and rotary in the center of Harrisville, Rhode Island, is where Bathsheba Sherman is buried, near the start of Sherman Farm Road. These are some of the fascinating facts about Bathsheba ghost and conjuring. Hope you like the video, and for more such videos, please subscribe to the channel.